Continuing with our theme of naming compounds in our Chapter 2 videos, we're now going to name binary covalent compounds that don't contain carbon and hydrogen. Some of them will contain some carbon, but what we're really getting at is we're not going to name organic compounds. They have their own system of nomenclature, and you'll learn more about that in future courses. The ones we're going to name are less complex. They contain just 2 nonmetals, and these nonmetals can have numerous oxidation states. So we can't fix the ratio of atoms to one another based on the oxidation states or charges like we can in our ionic compounds. That means that we have to have a system to indicate how many atoms of each nonmetal are present. So we're going to use a simple prefix system that I'll show you on the next slide. And we're going to name the elements in the order that they are listed in the chemical formula, and then we're going to put the appropriate prefix in to indicate the number of atoms present. The exception is if there's only one of the first element listed, then we're going to omit the prefix mono, which means 1, and then we're going to do some things like dropping A's or O's to make things flow a little bit better. That's not such a big deal, but let's take a look at the prefixes first and then dive into some examples to make all of this kind of make more sense. This is my version of Table 2.6 in your text, and you should have it dedicated to memory or put it on your crib sheet, but really you need to know this one. Mono means 1, di is 2, tri is 3. You're probably familiar with most of these. You may not be as familiar with hepta, which means 7, or nona, which means 9. But these are the prefixes that we're going to use, and remember we will always put in the prefix for our covalent compound names unless there's only one of the first element listed. Now, that exception, not putting in a prefix when there's only one of the first element listed, I always remember by naming CO. Almost all of you could already tell me that the name of CO is carbon monoxide. So we named the first element, and because there's only one, we did not put a mono in front of it. So it's not monocarbon monoxide, it's carbon monoxide. Because there's only one of the second atom, we do put the mono in front of that oxygen. Let's compare that to CO2, which would be carbon, again only one of the first ones, so no prefix, but now there's 2 oxygens, so the prefix becomes di, and it's dioxide. Let's try another one down here at the bottom, one that's a little bit more complicated. Here we have 4 phosphorus, so that's going to be tetraphosphorus. And we have 10 oxygens, that's deca, but because oxygen begins with an O, we tend to chop that A off, so instead of decaoxide, we were going to have decoxide. That missing A is something I'm not going to torture you with during exams. I'm not going to give you tetraphosphorus decaoxide and tetraphosphorus decoxide as 2 answer options, but it will make a difference in your homework and things like that, so pay a little bit of attention to it. I'm going to let you do the rest of those as homework, and we'll look at some of the Ms. Clicker questions the next time we meet.